Hello, it is Violetina coming to you today to say greetings. And I'm doing Stevie's tag. Stevie tag. Name 3 smells that remind you of good times from your past. 3 smells. Roast beef. Roast beef comes to mind. Roast beef. When my mother cooked a roast beef, she just didn't cook a roast of beef. She cooked a roast of beef. She cooked a roast beef. She cooked Yorkshire pudding. Now, in the Yorkshire pudding, you put in the bottom of the muffin tin a 1/4 of an inch of the beef drippings from the cooked roast beef. Pure beef drippings, beef fat and beef juice, all that. 1/4 inch. And then you put 3/4 up the way, right on top of that beef fat in the muffin tin of the Yorkshire pudding mix. And you did that with each tin, each muffin tin. And then you put it in a hot oven, 425 degrees, for about 15-20 minutes. And it puffs right up. It puffs right up, and all the beef flavor is through it. So with the smell of the roast beef cooking and the smell of the roast beef Yorkshire pudding, it's so delicious. My mother made that especially when we had the house in the summer. I remember one summer, I was about 15, I guess. My sister was a bit older, and she had a boyfriend, and he was over, and my mother was making the big supper with the roast beef and Yorkshire pudding. And I remember smelling that and thinking, oh, that smells good. My mother was a good cook. So that's one smell from my past. Roast beef with Yorkshire pudding. What other? 2 more. 3 smell. 1 more. Christmas. The smell of Christmas. The pine cones. Actually, the smell of pine wasn't too strong in the pine trees when you first got them, but then they didn't get so strong. But you could smell them. I remember the pine and they would drop on the floor. I remember that on the carpet. And it did smell of a strong pine scent. So I like that pine tree. And number 3, roast the beef, pine tree. Pine tree, roast the beef. I don't know. The summer with the sun. The summer with the sun. There's no smell actually to that summer with the sun. It's a clean smell. It's a fresh smell. I remember the first summer. How old was I? I must have been about 12. And it was the second summer we had our house. My father bought the house in 1966. And I remember walking up the street and a bit further, about a 10-minute walk, 15-minute walk. There was a big field, course, now there's no fields around there. It's all built up. But there was a big empty field, and there was big tall grasses, beige grasses, with a lot of grasshoppers. And the smell of the fresh field with the grasshoppers is summer. Just a summer, clean summer smell. I remember always clean summer smells from the summer. And that's my answer. Bye.